Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words going forwards, I apologise in advance, and indeed if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well, if there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision related video here on my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about something I've addressed in the past a few times, and that is the UK at the Eurovision Song Contest. Oh yes, here we go again. Before I get into that though, I should say that we still don't know the host city for the upcoming Eurovision Song Contest, which will take place next May somewhere in Italy. An announcement is very likely to occur within the next couple of days. The Eurovision Song Contest Twitter page has teased us with an image of pizza, how stereotypical, but we should be getting the host city very soon, and perhaps some other details about next year's competition as well. Maybe the visual identity, maybe the stage design, all of that stuff. It would be very nice to see. We've also had some activity in the world of Junior Eurovision. The German entry has been selected, but I am so off the pace with anything to do with the Junior edition and the adult competition, it's ridiculous. There will be another What We Know So Far video on this channel before too long, in which I cover pretty much everything. For now though, the UK at the Eurovision Song Contest. Now Lauravision here on YouTube, as I'm recording this video, uploaded a video only a short while ago talking about the UK's fortunes at the Eurovision Song Contest, and I've watched it and I agreed with pretty much everything she said, and there's loads of videos like this out there. I just want to say, I'll probably repeat myself several times in this video. It's going to be a big, totally unscripted ramble, and if anything it's going to turn out to be a very messy video indeed. But hopefully you'll enjoy it, stick with it, feel free to leave comments, and maybe let's get a bit of a discussion going. Why not? So, let's be honest, the UK are pretty crap at the Eurovision Song Contest, and have been for many years, nigh on 20 years, which is way too long if you're a Eurovision fan. It never used to be this way. We've won 5 times. For a very long time, we were never outside of pretty much the top 5. An absolutely extraordinary achievement when you think about it. We have finished second more times than any other participating nation, and even amidst all of the rather disappointing results that we've had over the past 2 decades or so, there have been flickers of the old UK. For example, 2002 we finished joint 3rd in Tallinn. In 2009, mainly thanks to Andrew Lloyd Webber, we finished in the top 5 then in Moscow, and also in 2011 with Blue, OK, we finished 11th, but a lot of people I think at the time saw it as a bit of a turning point and maybe a revival for the UK at the Eurovision Song Contest. Sadly, that never came to be the case. Anyway, what went wrong? Well, I suppose a lack of effort, a lack of interest from the broadcaster. I don't think at any point over the past 2 decades or so, certainly in the time that I've been watching Eurovision, which is the early 2000s to the present day, I don't think the artist has ever really been the problem. They have been hired or selected to do a job, and that is to do the best possible job for the UK on one of the biggest stages you could possibly perform on. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, but rarely is the artist the actual problem. Sometimes it's the song, and usually the song isn't written by the artist. More often than not though, and I really feel this way, it's just the effort put in by the BBC and indeed the British delegation. It's almost as if they just don't really care at all what happens every May. They don't really care whether the artist is having a good time, perhaps. They don't really care if the song is any good, whether it's current music or not, and they don't really care about the result. As soon as Eurovision is over every year, they forget about it. This is perhaps the attitude, I really don't know. But you get the feeling that actually there are people involved with the UK at Eurovision every year who really do feel this way. That as once the contest is over, that's it. We don't have to think about it now until the end of the year, when we'll hastily look for an artist who might want to do it, and if they say yes, brilliant, and then we'll say, right, have you got a song? No, fine, we'll get you one. Doesn't matter whether it's any good or not. And off you go. We'll put together some sort of performance on stage and we'll see if people vote for it. I'm not saying that there is no effort. I'm saying that there is little effort in comparison to what you see from several other nations. Now, I've said this before on this channel. If, for example, Great Britain went to the recent Olympic Games in Japan and won no gold medals, the press and fans, some fans definitely, they would deem it a disgrace, a major disappointment. Now, you would get some individuals who would say, okay, we're in the midst of a pandemic, we didn't really expect too much, let's not be too disheartened, we'll do better in Paris a few years from now. But you definitely would get some members of the press and fans and what have you saying it's a disgrace. We demand change. Let's say that England go to an international football championship, World Cup, Euros, whatever it is, and this has happened in the recent past, and they put in dismal performance after dismal performance and get knocked out early, despite having an alright team. They come back home, they're criticised heavily by pretty much every major British newspaper and fans. They would say, it's a disgrace, we demand change. So why, in the biggest singing competition in the world, an international stage where the artist in question is going to be seen by approximately 200 million people all around the world, why would you not put the effort in? Why would you, after years of utter mediocrity, why would you still stick with utter mediocrity? Why would you say that's enough? No. For too long, British Eurovision fans have been demanding change. If it doesn't work, but you put the effort in, okay, fair enough, we can sort of understand the poor result. But if you don't put the effort in, and therefore end up at the bottom of the scoreboard to no real surprise, demand change. And a change has got to come. Now, I could sit here and say Spain need to do it, Germany need to do it, I could mention Latvia as well, I could mention a whole bunch of participating countries in the Eurovision Song Contest, because let's be honest, the UK are not the only participating nation that has found it rough over the past several years. Spain are making a change for 2022, fair play to them. Germany are capable of sending quality. We had Ben Dolic lined up for 2020 before the pandemic came along and ruined everything. Latvia, they've sent Aminata and Justs within the past decade, so they are capable of sending quality too. But the UK, it's just so disheartening, because are we ever going to send something half decent ever again? You really feel this way. I don't know about you, but I certainly feel as though coming into this new Eurovision season, mediocrity is a-coming once again from the BBC for the UK at the Eurovision Song Contest. The attitude by the press in this country, foul. It absolutely stinks. There is this sort of uppity, oh yes, we're better than everybody else. That attitude is just horrible. I hate it. And so do a lot of other British Eurovision fans. It's almost as if journalists in this country, who don't really want to write about Eurovision every year but are paid to, they think, it's just the Eurovision Song Contest. Who really cares? We'll put more effort into something that really matters, like cycling at the Olympics. And I just think, well, hang on a minute. This is a major international event in which we are competing. It's almost as if you want us to do crap. That's not the attitude you should be having, right? That really isn't. If a major British musician suddenly announced that they were going to do Eurovision for the UK, and remember, this is how it used to be. Major British musicians did do Eurovision every year once upon a time. Cliff Richard, for example, major British acts. Let's say Ed Sheeran, this would never happen, but let's say Ed Sheeran said, right, I'm doing Eurovision next year. He doesn't sound like this, but I'm doing Eurovision for the UK. Oh, I wonder what the British press would say then. They'd be on board. They'd be saying, come on, Ed, bring it home for the UK. How many members of the British press, how many newspapers, how many fans would be saying, don't do it, Ed, you'll ruin your career? I mean, first of all, he wouldn't ruin his career, because he's quite alright in that department musically. But, I mean, it's almost, they're hypocrites. The UK press, not just with Eurovision, they're hypocrites in a lot of different ways. I'm starting to ramble now and go totally off the point. Do bear with me. But here's the thing. The UK are sending, and it doesn't matter, this really doesn't matter, but the UK are sending not the most well-known musicians year after year. At the moment, relatively unknown musicians, it has to be said. You look at other countries, and they are sending current major names. Look at Italy, for crying out loud. This is perhaps the most frustrating element of all of it. The BBC surely don't look at what any other nations are doing. Has any member of the British delegation decided to check out the Sanremo Music Festival every year, which is A, older than Eurovision, and B, bigger than Eurovision, in Italy? Has anybody, part of the British delegation, past or present, looked at that show? Because if they had looked at it, surely they would be thinking, right, it lasts about a week, 13 million viewers every night, biggest channel in Italy as well is what it's broadcast on, major musicians and newcomers, quality entertainment, orchestra, yeah, it's really well put together. Plus it's in this little theatre, you know, not a major arena. They're doing a really good job. I wonder why they do well every year. But no, I doubt anybody part of the British delegation at the BBC or whatever has seen Sanremo. Because surely if they had, they would understand why Italy have fared so well since they came back in 2011, bar the odd blip on the radar. But those blips on the radar, they still put the effort in. You know, it's not as if they just decided, nah, stuff it. Germany this year, I think, did say stuff it. Now, Jendrik, likeable guy. He's not to blame. The song, I mean, come on now. I think we all knew it wasn't going to do terribly well. But then the year before, Ben Dolic, Violent Thing. That would surely have made the top 10 in Rotterdam had the 2020 contest gone ahead. So, it's just so bizarre, and I'm rambling so badly here. I'm just veering left to right. Do bear with me. If we take a look at sort of when it all went wrong for the UK, we hosted in 1998. In 1999, we didn't do terribly well. Still okay, but not brilliant. 2000, even worse. 2001, not brilliant. 02, joint third place. And then in 2003, we finished last with Nul Point, with Gemini. And I think that is when things really went down the pan. I think then the attitude shifted completely towards Eurovision in this country. In 2004, we sent James Fox, who was on a reality singing competition. But the song was so utterly bland, it was never going to trouble the voters. In 2005, we sent Javine, who was on a reality singing competition. She didn't win. Doesn't matter whether you win it or not. But we sent her Touch My Fire. Could say the running order was to blame, but the song itself, it just wasn't that good. Let's be honest. 2006, Daz Sampson, a relatively unknown musician, it has to be said. A rap song, Always Risky, didn't do that well. 2007, Scooch, the British public voted for that song. They are to blame. Scooch, likeable. The song, really quite poor. Cheesy, camp stuff. It was never going to do that well. And then you've got members of the British press saying, it was a fine performance, we deserved better. Well, hang on. No, we didn't. Did you see some of the other performances? Did you listen to some of the other musicians? It was pretty damn clear that the UK that year, and indeed in years following, we were never going to push hard for the win. Are you joking? Are you joking? What is this strange, almost xenophobia that we see in the British press and from fans, some fans, year after year after year. It's just ridiculous. We think we're better than everybody else. We think that we don't need to put the effort in because we're the UK and we will finish towards the top in anything that we do. No, not at all. What year am I up to? 2008, Andy Abraham, the runner-up on a reality singing competition. Now, he deserved better. He did deserve better. I thought his performance was pretty solid. But when you put it in the grand scheme of things with the rest of the songs in that Belgrade competition, no, he wasn't actually going to do that well. Then we had Andrew Lloyd Webber with It's My Time, and Jade Ewan sang the hell out of it, deserved to do well. Now, admittedly, that song, the lyrics, the performance, okay. My word, it's a pretty generic ballad, but it did the trick. It doesn't have to be something flashy, does it? And then in 2010, Josh Dubovy. I think the less we say about that particular effort, the better. 2011, things changed. The public couldn't be trusted, so along came an internal selection by the BBC, and they picked Blue. Now, Blue in 2011, they weren't exactly relevant. They hadn't had a hit in years, but they were one of the biggest boy bands in Britain once upon a time. I Can, let's not forget, did very well in the public vote. Top 5, I believe. The juries killed it. But of course, nobody really focused on the fact that the public really enjoyed the song. It was 11th place. Disappointment for Blue. That's the attitude of the British press for you. 2012, Engelbert Humperdinck. Nice guy. Great voice. Fair play to him opening the 2012 final. But he hadn't had a hit in decades. That just seemed like such an odd choice. The song was a ballad. It opened the show. Of course it wasn't going to do terribly well. 2013, Bonnie Tyler. No hit in decades. Of course she wasn't going to do terribly well. The song just didn't stand out enough. Are you seeing what other countries are doing, BBC? No, you're not. In 2014, I really thought we turned a corner. Molly Smitten-Downs, pretty much a complete unknown. Doesn't really matter. And she had a nice song that she co-wrote. She was last in the running order. Okay, didn't like her outfit. And last in the running order is not necessarily a good thing. But I thought we turned a corner. She was one of the favourites to win, let's not forget. And then in the end, the result was disappointing. But actually, I didn't feel too bad, because we did put quite a bit of effort in. And then the year later, Electro Velvet. Oh, heavens above. That's, the Gendrick situation all over again. It's the broadcaster not giving a toss. Who at the BBC thought Electro Velvet was the right choice for the 2015 Eurovision Song Contest? Well, not them, but rather the song. Electro Swing? No. And the staging, you just have to put the UK next to the winner Sweden. And it's so ridiculous. One looks amateurish and almost as though it's hastily put together for a children's birthday party, which the children themselves probably wouldn't enjoy. And then you've got Sweden, which looks slick and effective, and Mons looks as though he's been performing at Eurovision every year since he was a toddler. He's utterly charismatic. Of course people are going to vote for him. Of course the juries are going to vote for him. The song is current. Electro Velvet, nobody in Britain's heard of them, and the song, let's be honest, it's pants. Come on now, did the BBC learn from their mistakes? Not really. In 2016, we sent Joe and Jake. They'd been on a reality singing competition. Since then, they've done absolutely nothing. Nothing of note that I'm aware of. Nice guys, but the song, plain, doesn't stand out enough. 2017, Lucy Jones. Okay, she performed it very well and the staging was nice, and she deserved better. Another Andy Abraham situation. And then in 2018, Surrey sort of came out of nowhere. Nobody was really sure who she was, even though she'd been on stage with Loic Notte in 2015. And then she had the stage invader. Okay, but the song, bland, didn't stand out enough. 2019, Michael Rice, bland, didn't stand out enough. This year, James Newman, bland, didn't stand out enough. Bland, 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 bland. It's a recurring theme. There's no change. It's the same shite, year after year after year. That's what it is. And you see Italy. They have sent pop opera. They've sent a sort of Amy Winehouse type song. They've sent jazz. They've sent sort of rap, and they've sent rock. They've dabbled in different areas, and they've generally been very successful. They've tried different things. They haven't stuck to one formula, and their national final, although Sanremo is not strictly a national final, you know, it's just obvious. The effort is there. People give a damn. Whereas in this country, very few people do. Sweden, why do you think they have generally been very successful for a long time? Melfest lasts a month. One show a week, major names and newcomers. Yes, I've said before that the genres could be a bit more varied, and indeed the language, but there is a reasonable amount of variety, and people get behind the acts because they know a lot of the acts. The songs chart very well. By the time the winning act goes to Eurovision, the song has probably been #1 on home soil for weeks and probably gone platinum. I mean, Tussa won Melfest with not far away from 3 million votes. Astonishing numbers. People gave a damn. They got behind him. Now at Eurovision he didn't do terribly well by Sweden's high standards, but they put the effort in. So I can't imagine people in Sweden were too dismayed by his result. But this year, James Newman, nice guy. The staging, not brilliant. The song, okay. But put it next to many of the other performances. Put it next to France. They had nothing apart from Barbara standing there looking exquisite with a spotlight on her. That was it. It was all about the voice, and she nailed it, and people could resonate with it even if they didn't speak French. They didn't need this explosive type song with trumpets on stage, fake massive trumpets on stage. They didn't need that. That looked tacky for the UK. Sometimes rein it in. You know, don't go heavy on the staging. Now I know Italy did this year, and maybe this year it was just a rock year. That's what people wanted to listen to. That's what people wanted to vote for. Maneskin were young, fresh, exciting, rebellious, I suppose. People loved them, and that's what people were in the mood for. They're not. People just aren't going to vote for something that's utterly bland. And you know what? This year we had 4 null points in the public vote, which is harsh. But that should be a sign to every nation that if you don't bring your A game, you will end up with diddly squat. You will end up with nothing, and you deserve to. You have got to bring your A game. It doesn't matter whether it is a known name or not, and I'm sort of addressing the BBC here, not that they'll see this video. It doesn't matter whether it's a known name. It doesn't matter whether it's somebody who's only ever released a song independently. It doesn't even matter whether they've got a record label. Doesn't matter. As long as they can sing, and they've got quite a lot of confidence about them, doesn't matter how old they are. If they want to do it with a song that they've written, and they are in control over most elements of the staging, give them a chance. Give them a chance. It's not going to ruin their career. Because if they're 18 years old, they're going to perform on a huge stage in a big city to 200 million people. Why would you say no to that? I wouldn't if I was a singer. I'd be thrilled at the opportunity. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Now, this video, as I expected, has turned into a disgusting mess. But bear with me because I'm not finished yet. The Daily Mail, a newspaper here in Britain, very recently published an article which I've got up in front of me now, and I'm going to address it. Eurovision, who I mentioned earlier, also addressed this article. It says here, even Macca, that's Paul McCartney, couldn't win Eurovision for Britain. That's their opinion. Music bosses tell BBC they won't humiliate their stars in the competition in a backlash against anti-British bias. Oh, here we go. Politics playing a part. But it actually doesn't. Not really. And it hasn't for a very long time. But Britain still has this attitude. Everybody hates us. Ever since we left the European Union, nobody really cares about us. Just rubbish. Utter rubbish. It's because we don't put the effort in. That's why people are disappointed with us every year, and I think disappointment's the right word. This article was written by Katie Hind. I'll name and shame you. I don't give a toss. It was published on the 5th of September. It says here, UK record labels are these are her words, UK record labels are refusing to put forward performers for next year's Eurovision Song Contest in a backlash against anti-British bias. BBC chiefs have irritated music bosses with demands for them. And you know what? Fair play to the BBC if they have been irritating them, because they should be. With demands for them to supply talent to enter the singing competition, only for them to fare badly on the night. The annual music contest has become one of the BBC's most successful broadcasts of the year. It always has been. Always has been. The 1973 contest, I believe it is one of the most watched shows ever on British television. With this year's competition, blah blah blah, who gives a crap. But record company executives now believe there is anti-UK bias. Is there an anti-Latvia bias? Is there an anti-Spain bias? Is there an anti-Ireland bias? What the hell are you talking about? When it comes to the judging of artists performing at Eurovision, particularly after Brexit, and are planning to boycott the event. Stuff 'em then. Pick somebody who's not with a record label. Problem solved. It comes after James Newman was awarded null point. Yes, he was. But that does not mean that every single member of the public didn't vote for him, because some people surely did. And it doesn't mean that every single jury member put him last either. Let's not forget that. The result was greeted with huge cheers by the audience. They were cheering him because they felt bad for him, and they wanted to make him feel a bit better about getting a big fat zero. They weren't cheering the UK coming last, they were offering support. So get your facts right. Record label BMG, which spent 25 grand to fund Newman's entry, is understood to be among those now refusing to repeat the exercise. With all due respect to BMG, maybe, I don't know, they should have put more effort in. It's as simple as that. Other major UK record label bosses believe European countries are prejudiced. Blah, blah, what a load of rubbish. One record industry boss, why aren't you naming them? Name and shame. Said the truth is we could have entered Paul McCartney, backed by the Spice Girls, and still ended up finishing in last place. That's the truth, is it? I don't think we would have finished last. Not with those two names involved. The feeling inside the UK music industry is that there is now open bias against our acts. I don't think so. Nobody wants to go near Eurovision anymore. A lot of musicians probably don't, because they do see it as a career deal breaker, which is a shame. But the BBC are arrogantly demanding. They're not arrogantly demanding at all. They are well within their rights to put pressure on British record labels to get on board, because fans would be putting pressure, and probably are putting pressure on these record labels to, send somebody. I mean, I've thought for a long time that we need a national final setup like Melfest, where we have one show in England, one in Scotland, one in Wales, one in Northern Ireland, songs in English, Scots Gaelic, Welsh, Irish, why not? Newcomers, established names, stick them all together and let the public decide who's the best. It could be a major hit every week for the BBC, primetime television. It's just waiting to happen. Eurovision fans would love it. We'd love to see something like that. Going back to the article, it says here, voting at the Eurovision Song Contest has long been dogged with controversy amid claims of block voting. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. This year's victors, Måneskin from Italy, were glam rockers who took to the stage in flared lederhosen, I think you've got the wrong country there, with their nipples out. So, they won. Who cares what they wore? Is that it? That's the article. That's actually the first time I've read the article, and to be honest, it's as poor as I thought it would be. I'm going to shut up now because this video is nearly half an hour long. What we need is just a new approach. We need a better national final setup. We need newcomers and established names. We need the press to be on board. We need the whole attitude from the ground up to be totally revitalised. We need to go back to the way we were. It's possible. It is possible. The UK has such a rich music scene, although it is absolutely dominated by the same few artists at the moment. But we have so many musicians who are talented. Surely one of them wants to do it. Ask them. Ask them. What's stopping you? I really don't know. I put something up on my Twitter page, and I am going to have to look for this. Another method of selecting the UK act, which I think would be very useful. I mean, I know a lot of countries use their version of The Voice. We have The Voice in Britain, but to be honest, I don't think it's a very popular show. So I'm not sure picking an artist from The Voice, although Joe and Jake were on The Voice, I don't think that's necessarily the best method. Sound Of. I'll read from Wikipedia. Sound Of is an annual BBC poll of music critics and industry figures to find the most promising new music talent. It was first conducted by the BBC News website in 2003 and is now widely covered by the corporation's online radio and TV outlets. A 10-strong long list is published each December with a ranked shortlist and annual winner announced the following January. We have had musicians such as Keane, Franz Ferdinand, Joss Stone, McFly, Block Party, Kaiser Chiefs, Katie Tunstall, Corinne Bailey-Rae, Mika, Adele, Duffy, The Ting Tings, Foals, Little Boots, who actually has said very recently that she is working on something for Eurovision, Florence and the Machine, LaRue, Ellie Goulding, Marina and the Diamonds, Hertz, they've been linked with Eurovision in the past, Jessie J, James Blake, The Vaccines, Michael Kiwanuka, Laura Mvula, Churches, Sam Smith, Ella Eyre, George Ezra, Years and Years, James Bay, Stormzy, who else have we got here? Rag and Bone Man, Georgia Smith, Celeste, Young Blood, Lewis Capaldi, Dua Lipa, Leanne La Havas, Tom Odell. I could go on and on. Think of what we could have had. Think of what we could have had. I think not necessarily picking the winner, but picking somebody from the Sound Of poll every year might be the way to go. And I put on my Twitter page that the runner-up, Holly Humberstone, who is from Grantham, Holly Fionn Humberstone, is 21. She's an up-and-coming musician, 2 EPs, whole bunch of music videos. Check out her stuff, it's pretty good. Why not? If she doesn't want to do it, fair enough. But ask. You run this competition that is almost ready-made to be a selection method for the Eurovision Song Contest. Use it. You already promote the hell out of it. Use it for Eurovision. Get people interested. Young, fresh talent every year who would surely see Eurovision as an enormous opportunity to make a name for themselves, not only in Britain, but across Europe. They could be sorted for life if they get a good result at whatever contest it is. That's another way you could do it. Would the BBC think about it? No. No, they wouldn't. In fact, it's mid-September. They probably haven't even got a name lined up. And that's disappointing. And next year, as much as I would like to see us do well, more disappointment is probably coming. Anyway, if you've stuck with me for this long, I can only say you've got a lot of time on your hands. I knew this was going to be a ramble. I'm not particularly happy with how this video has turned out, but maybe this needed to be a long ramble. The BBC just aren't looking at what other countries are doing. They're not putting enough effort in. And every performance, every song that we've had, pretty much, for several years now, has just been bland and uninteresting, and people in Britain aren't even getting behind them. The promotion just hasn't been high enough, whereas Maneskin came into Eurovision with enormous buzz. So is it any surprise they won? No, not really. And is it any surprise James finished last? No, not really. The press attitude needs to change. I'd love for the UK to have an artist next year who slates the press, who says what a lot of fans think, what I think, and says, yeah, I'm feeling very confident going into this year's Eurovision Song Contest. I'm going to do the best possible job I can, and I don't give a hoot what the British press say about me. I'd love for somebody to come out and say that, but they probably won't. It's a great shame. This has been a long, very slipshod video. Please let me know your thoughts. I'm very, very interested to get a bit of a discussion going. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. And I'll be back with a much better, more coherent video in the near future. Until next time, take care of yourselves and roll on the Eurovision 2022 season. Can't wait. Until next time, bye for now.